topic of discussion is the rectus sheath. So for the dissection of this window, what are the lines of incision? First, one transverse incision from the upper border of the symphysis pubis to 3 inches lateral above from the 4th chondrosternal junction to 3 inches lateral. Then one vertical incision joining the medial points of above these two transverse incisions. Fine. Then the skin incision has been given. The window has been opened. Now along the lines of skin incision, the superficial fascia has also been opened. Now in the superficial fascia, there are some structures can be found, among which one is the superficial epigastric. What is the superficial epigastric vessel? Superficial epigastric vessel. Then comes towards the perineal region, there goes the superficial external pudendal and another vessel, that is the superficial external iliac vessel. Apart from these vessels, there are some anterior cutaneous branches of these lower 6 to 7 intercostal nerves, and those can be seen likewise here and here. Some of the examples are present here. Here, these are the anterior cutaneous branches of the lower 6 or 7 intercostal nerves. Now, the main part of the rectus sheath can be visualized. The rectus sheath, the anterior layer of the rectus sheath is like this. This is the anterior layer of the rectus sheath. But the formation of this anterior layer of rectus sheath varies with the varying levels. Like what? Like above the costal margin, the anterior layer of the rectus sheath is actually formed by only the aponeurosis of the external oblique muscle. From the costal margin to the midpoint, that is the up to the arcuate line, and that is at the midway between the umbilicus and the symphysis pubis. So up to this border, up to this level, the anterior layer of the rectus sheath is formed by the external oblique aponeurosis and the anterior lamella of the internal oblique aponeurosis. Fine. But below this arcuate line, that is the midway between the umbilicus and symphysis pubis, below this way, the anterior layer of the rectus sheath is thickened and is formed by the aponeurosis of the external oblique, internal oblique and the transversus abdominis muscle. Fine. Now, this anterior layer of the rectus sheath is loosened to find the contents of the rectus sheath. What are the structures present behind this anterior layer of the rectus sheath? You can well visualize that. This is the content, that is the main content, that is the rectus abdominis muscle. It is the whole of the content, that is the external oblique muscle. Here it has been torn due to the procedure of the dissection. But you can see that here the muscle is attached with the anterior layer of the rectus sheath. Why? You can well visualize it was also been attached here, very strictly it was attached, and these fibrous septa, like thickening of the anterior layer, is attached with the rectus abdominis muscle at 3 levels, like at the border, at the level of the xiphisternum, that is the free border of the sternum, like this. You can see here it is the intersection where the anterior layer is very much tightly attached with adherent with the rectus abdominis muscle. Another is at the level of the umbilicus. You can see it over here like this. This is the thickening of the fibrous intersection adherent with the muscle. The third one is at the level in between these two. like at the border of the free border of the xiphisternum, at the level of the umbilicus, and in between them. That is the here. You can see that here it is strictly adherent, very much tightly attached with the muscle. I cannot loosen it. I cannot loosen the anterior layer of the rectus sheath from the rectus abdominis muscle. Got it? Okay, fine. Now you should know that along with this rectus abdominis muscle, another muscle may be present within the rectus sheath. What is that? That is the pyramidalis muscle. That is actually present at the inferomedial part of the rectus abdominis, but here it is not present. In some cases, pyramidalis muscle is present at the inferomedial part of the rectus abdominis muscle. So the contents should be the two muscles, rectus abdominis and the pyramidalis muscle, and two vessels. There is the anastomosis of inferior epigastric and the superior epigastric vessel. Here you can see the inferior epigastric vessel, and here goes your superior epigastric vessel. Here goes your superior epigastric vessel, and these two anastomos, actually in some cases these two vessels anastomose behind the muscle, but in front of the posterior layer of the rectus sheath, and these two anastomose at the substance of the rectus abdominis muscle. In some cases these two anastomose behind this muscle, and in maximum of the cases these two vessels, inferior epigastric and superior epigastric vessels, anastomose, actually they enter into the substance of the muscle and then they anastomose. Fine. And where does this inferior epigastric vessel enter into the muscle? That is at the level of the arcuate line. So the importance of the arcuate line is that at that level the inferior epigastric muscle enters into the rectus abdominis, and that is actually the inferior epigastric vessel enters into the rectus sheath. And another significance of this arcuate line is that it is concave downwards. It is arched. That is why its name is arcuate. It has a concavity downwards, and below this level, below this arcuate line, the posterior layer is deficient. That is, the posterior layer of the rectus sheath is deficient. So, but you can also see, but you can you should also remember that this rectus sheath and the rectus abdominis muscle should always be retracted laterally, not lateral to medial. Why? Because from the lateral border of the rectus sheath or the rectus abdominis, there is a linea semilunaris, and through that border the intercostal nerves actually pierce. So if you turn it lateral to medial side, then those nerves can get injured or can get damaged. Fine. So these are the all about the anterior layer, and the posterior layer you should know that it is present actually between this costal margin and the arcuate line. In between these two levels, the posterior layer of the rectus sheath is formed by the behind forwards the fascia transversalis and the posterior lamella of the internal oblique aponeurosis. In between these two levels, what are those? The above one is the level of the costal margin, and the below one is the level of arcuate line. In between these two, the posterior layer of the rectus sheath is formed by behind forwards fascia transversalis and the posterior lamella of the internal oblique aponeurosis. Fine. So this is all anterior layer of the rectus sheath, rectus abdominis muscle, posterior layer, arcuate line, then the intersections of the rectus sheath into this rectus abdominis muscle. Actually, the reason behind the formation of abs is these intersections. Okay, and these intersections can also be called as the abdominal ribs. Okay, so that is all. Contents should be muscles, nerves and vessels. Fine, that is all. Thank you.